Lesson 4.6 is on standard form. So standard form is ax plus by equals c. And the most important thing to know about this form is that all of these values, both a and b, must be integers. So we're going to spend a lot of time clearing fractions, etc., because everything must be integers. And the slope in this form of a line is the opposite of the a value divided by the b. So when we're in this form, it is the opposite of the a value divided by the b. Okay? So if we just practice rewriting these in standard form, the first thing I really need to know is that I have to have them in that order. So I have to have the x value and then the y value and then the number alone on the other side of the equation. So I need to get the y value to this side of the equation. So I'm going to do that by adding 3y to each side of the equation. So that's going to give me 4x plus 3y minus 9 equals 0. So I added 3y, and now I need to get the 9 to the other side. So I'm going to add 9 to each side as well to cancel that out. So I've got 4x plus 3y equals 9. So I've got my x value and then my y and then my constant or my value without any variables on the other side of the equation. So if I try question B, I have my x and my y in the correct order, however I have fractions and they need to be integers. So what I want to do is I want to clear them out. So I'm going to look at my denominators, which are 3 and 6, and I think to myself, what could clear out both a 3 and 6? So I really want to multiply by the common denominator. So the common denominator of 3 and 6 would be 6. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 6. So 6 times 2/3 is 4. So 4x plus, and then 6 times 1/6 is just 1. So I could write 1 or just y. And then 6 times 8 is 48. So then I've gotten rid of all my fractions. So that one is now complete. Part C, y equals negative 3/8 x plus 1/2. First thing I need to do is get my x to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to add 3/8 x to each side of the equation. So I'll have 3/8 x plus y equals 1/2. So now I have my x and my y in the correct order, but now I need to get rid of my fractions. So I'm going to multiply by a common denominator, which would be 8. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 8. So 8 times 3/8 is 3. So I've got 3x plus 8 times 1 is just 8, so plus 8y. And 8 times 1/2 is 4. So 3x plus 8y equals 4 is my final answer. One of the hardest things for students to remember is to multiply every single thing in the equation. So I have to multiply the x, the y, and the constant on the other side. So make sure you're multiplying every part of the equation by that common denominator. In part D, I've got decimals now, so I've got it in the right order, but I have decimals. So the first thing I would do is just multiply by 100 to get rid of all of the decimals. So clear it out by multiplying by 100. So that would give me 40x plus 75y would equal 600. So that's just the easiest way to clear out all of your decimals would just be to multiply by 100. Okay, so turning things into standard form. Part 2 is taking standard form and rewriting into slope-intercept form. And we've done this a lot, so hopefully this way is a little bit easier. So I should start by subtracting 2x from each side. So that's going to leave me with 4y equals negative 2x plus 16. Again, you want to put that negative 2x first, so it's in mx plus b form. And then I need to get rid of the 4, so I'm going to divide everything by 4. So that's going to leave me with y equals negative 1/2. Again, 2 divided by 4. Careful there, reduce. And then x plus 16 divided by 4 is 4. Part B, same idea, only this time it's kind of a little bit organized differently. So I'm going to subtract my 5x here. So I've got 3y equals negative 5x plus 6. Now I'll divide everything by 3 here. So I've got y equals negative 5/3 x. Because that doesn't reduce, I'm just going to leave that as an improper fraction. Plus 2, because 6 divided by 3 is 2. Part C, almost in slope-intercept form, only things are kind of written a little bit backwards here. So all I really need to do in this one is divide by the 5 on every part. Keeping in mind there's a 1 on that x, that becomes 1/5 x minus 8/5 equals y. Just kind of written in a little bit backwards format, but not really a big deal there. That is in slope-intercept form. Okay, and now we're going to graph in standard form. So we're going to use the zeros method to graph in standard form. So we're going to create a t-chart with 2 ordered pairs, one with an x value of 0 and one with a y value of 0. It's also called the staggered zeros method. So our xy table is going to be set up looking like this. So we'll walk you through a couple examples looking like this. So we've got 3x minus 12y equals 24. So we're going to make our xy table, and we're going to plug in 0 for x. So if I plug in 0 for x, what that gives me is negative 12y equals 24. So what would y have to be? Well, y would have to be negative 2. Now if I put 0 in for y, that would leave me with 3x equals 24. So x would have to equal 8. So that gives me 2 ordered pairs. So I have 0, negative 2 as a y-intercept, and I have 8, 0 as an x-intercept. And 2 points make my line. Whoops, sorry, I kind of missed those. So there's my line. Now you could rewrite these in slope-intercept form, but this method tends to be more accurate and a little bit faster. So we'll try that again. Number 4. Make my staggered zeros chart. X, y, plug in 0 for x, making that whole term disappear, so that leaves me with 5y equals 30. So 5 times 6 is 30. Plug in 0 for y, that makes that whole term disappear, and that just leaves negative 15x to equal 30. So negative 15 times negative 2 would equal 30. So if I plot my 2 points, 0, 6 is my y-intercept, and negative 2, 0 is my x-intercept. So those 2 points make my line, and there's my line. Okay, staggered zeros method. We'll try number 5, staggered zeros method. Plug in 0 for x, that makes that whole term disappear. So I have negative y equals negative 27. So the negatives would actually cancel there, and that would just be a positive 27. Plug in 0 for y, that would leave me with 9x equals negative 27. So that would leave me with a negative 3, because 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. So to get both of these on the graph, we'd actually have to go by 3s on the y-axis here. So that would be 0, 27, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be the 9th one there. And then since we're going by 3s, I'd only have to go back 1 here. Since we went by 3s, and a very steep line right there. Okay. And if you want to try this one, but this one looks a little bit different because I don't have a y value. So I'm going to rewrite this one by adding 72 to each side first. So that gives me negative 9x equals 72. Now I'm going to divide by negative 9. So that gives me x equals negative 8. And then x equals is a vertical line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So an x equals is actually a vertical line, so I don't even need the staggered zeros method there. Okay, so that is standard form. So go ahead, try your homework, and bring questions to class tomorrow.